He was a prodigious talent who was destined to lead Brazilian football into a new era. Cruel injuries broke him down and stopped him from reaching his full potential. Today, we look at the career of one of football's most tragic what-ifs. This is the remarkable story of Alexandre Pato. This unbelievable football story begins in Pato Branco, Brazil, way back in 1989. Alexandre Pato was born on the 9th of September that year, and it's safe to say he was born to play football. At the age of 3, he began playing the beautiful game. Almost instantly, word began to spread about the kid in the Paraná region who played with a natural flair and talent rarely seen, even in one of the world's most storied footballing nations. Futsal became Pato's playground. He was unstoppable. Before he was even a teenager, he signed with Internacional's youth team. This put Pato on the fast track to success. When Pato was still a young boy of 11, he broke his arm.
Fui direto pro hospital, a doutora, naquela época, ela foi e engessou, logo na hora, engessou assim. Só que no raio-x, aparecia alguma coisinha.
This injury led to the unthinkable almost happening when doctors found a tumor in Pato's arm. The growth was so concerning that doctors discussed amputation. To make matters worse, Pato's family did not have the money to pay for the surgery needed to save the young Alexandre. But luckily, a doctor agreed to do the surgery to remove the tumor without payment. The surgery was successful. Thankfully, the future star made a full recovery. Sadly though, when viewing Pato's career today, this incident was something of a warning sign for troubles ahead. Battles with ill health, injury, and bad luck would become a theme throughout Alexandre Pato's career. After the health scare, Pato's meteoric rise continued, and by 16, he was already playing in Brazil's Under-20 championship. Well, he wasn't just playing, he was stealing the show. At just 17 years old, Pato looked to be the future of football. He played a vital role in Internacional's run in the 2006 FIFA Club World Cup, scoring a goal in the semi-final and then playing his part against one of Europe's elite clubs, Barcelona, in the final. Internacional won the tournament, and Pato became the youngest scorer at a senior men's FIFA tournament. The previous holder of the record, the man whose record was broken by Alexandre Pato, was none other than Pelé. The biggest clubs in the world were officially on red alert. Football's next superstar had arrived, and everyone wanted a piece of Pato. In the summer of 2007, the champions of Europe, AC Milan, were on the hunt for their next superstar signing. This was a remarkable team of talent, one that had just won the Champions League with a lineup including 2007's Ballon d'Or winner and Brazilian icon Kaká, Italian goal machine Filippo Inzaghi, midfield maestros like Clarence Seedorf and Andrea Pirlo, and one of the game's most formidable defenses, held strong by Alessandro Nesta and Paolo Maldini. Milan also had one of the greatest players of all time, O Fenomeno Ronaldo.
Well, it's always been Ronaldo. I would play video games and watch his games, and, well, it's always been Ronaldo. When I was little, he was playing in Europe, and I would watch him on TV, and when he played for Brazil, it was a show. To see him play and to see what everyone said about him, it was amazing.
In August, AC Milan announced their signing of the 17-year-old from Pato Branco. What followed was a frenzy of hype, expectation, and promise. Alexandre Pato arrived with a seemingly insurmountable weight on his shoulders. The media quickly began to place Milan's Brazilian attacking trio of Kaká, Pato, and R9 as the most exciting in world football. When 17-year-old Pato first entered Milan's star-studded locker room, Ronaldo approached Pato and asked him which group he was going to align himself with. Ronaldo presented the two choices: a Playboy magazine, or a Bible. The latter symbolized Ronaldo's wild, party-loving, free-spirited group. The Bible represented Kaká's group, known for their devotion to religion and religious activities. It was a light-hearted decision pushed on Alexandre Pato, and he couldn't quite believe it was coming from a legend who he had once known best as the player he selected when playing football on the PlayStation. This was immersion for Milan's newest signing. He had been welcomed with open arms and by some of the planet's most accomplished players. The next step was to prove himself worthy of his €24 million price tag. His Serie A debut came on the 13th of January 2008, as his first competitive start had to be delayed until Pato had turned 18 due to FIFA's rules regarding minors playing in Europe. Milan took on Napoli that day, and a certified star was born. He dazzled, leaving defenders looking off balance, peppering the goal with powerful shots and skipping past his opponents with ease. He may have been 18, but he looked like he belonged among his world-class teammates. His first goal for Milan was a touch of pure class, smooth as silk with a cucumber-cool composure. Pato slotted the ball past the keeper like a veteran striker. This game was not just the debut of Alexandre Pato. It was also the debut of Milan's Caparro trio, Kaká, Pato, and Ronaldo. R9 grabbed 2 goals in the game. Kaká scored 1 as well. Milan won in decisive fashion, 5-2. They looked to have the most threatening attacking trio in world football, made all the more exciting by the fact all 3 players were Brazilian. In just 1 game, Alexandre Pato established himself as a genuine football talent. In Milan, he was no longer the future. He was the present. The much-hyped trio of Kaká, Pato, and Ronaldo wasn't to be, as the 2 goals R9 scored during Pato's debut actually ended up as the last goals Ronaldo ever scored in European football. Injuries robbed the world of what might have been the best front 3 to ever play together. What happened to the phenomenon would serve as a frightening look into Pato's future. But for now, Brazil's Wonderkid was all set to delight the fans in Italy as the league's most exciting young talent. Pato finished his first season at the San Siro with almost a goal per game. Pato was a sensation on the field, tearing defenses to shreds, on his way to becoming Milan's top scorer for the season. 2008 as a year saw Milan's number 7 put on incredible display after incredible display. But Pato was proving himself the ultimate replacement. He was adored by the fans, and he adored them back.
So voi italiani, quando il giocatore gioca, voi amate il giocatore per quello che le è, non è solo per quello che fa, per quello che diventa il giocatore. Quindi l'amore che ho per i milanisti è, non so come spiegare.
2009 saw Pato continue his rise as an unstoppable talent. This was cemented during a Champions League group stage game against Real Madrid, when 2 second-half goals at the Santiago Bernabeu gifted Milan a huge 3 points against one of the world's elite clubs. He was named Serie A's Young Footballer of the Year, making Pato the first Brazilian to ever win the prize. On February 28, 2010, it was Pato perfection as usual, as the Brazilian forward scored 2 goals in the first half against Atalanta. Then, in the second half, Pato had to leave the game due to a hamstring tear. This injury, one common in football, wasn't enough to raise alarm at the time. Once Pato did return, he re-injured the same muscle. It was back to the sidelines for Serie A's most exciting young player. Pato's technical ability was outstanding. Was this a bump in the road? Or was Alexandre Pato destined to follow in the injury-plagued footsteps of his idol? Pato finished the 2009-10 season making considerably fewer appearances than the season prior. His career was headed into a downward spiral. But surely, with such remarkable talent, Alexandre Pato could turn things around. The 2011-12 season looked to be one of redemption and reassurance for Alexandre Pato. In the season opener, he bagged 2 goals in a 4-0 win for Milan. Match 2 was a different story though, as Pato picked up another injury. Stops and starts became a regular occurrence for Pato over the course of the season. Still, even with injuries threatening to derail his entire career, Pato could still play with the best in the world when he was healthy. 2011 saw Pato score one of the all-time great goals in Champions League history. Just 24 seconds into the game against the mighty Barcelona, Pato went breakneck pace to breeze past his defender before slotting the ball home with his trademark ice-cold composure. Injuries had become a troubling concern in Pato's career. But despite it all, he was still showing why so many considered him one of the game's most promising talents. It wasn't yet time to write Pato off though, because when he turned it on, no defender on earth seemed capable of stopping him. The following season would be one to forget though, with Pato making just 11 league appearances due to an overwhelming number of injuries. The time on the treatment table was bad enough, but when Pato did play, his performances were not of the level expected of him. They were so bad, in fact, that Pato was given an accolade unfitting of a Brazilian footballing icon. He was awarded the tongue-in-cheek prize of the Bidone d'Oro, aka the Golden Trash Can Award, an award given to the most disappointing player in Serie A. Instead of being hailed as one of the best players in world football, Alexandre Pato was being discussed as a done and dusted player who simply failed to live up to expectations. In Pato's final season in Milan, he made just 4 league appearances, and it appeared as though his career in European football was over. Pato got on a plane and headed home to Brazil. At the time, these were considerable questions. One thing was certain though, Pato was going to do everything in his power to rebuild his career as a professional footballer. Alexandre Pato had left Brazil a teenager with a blindingly bright future in professional football. In 2013, he returned, but he did not do so as a failure. He returned with multiple major honors to his name, including a Serie A title in which he played a vital part. He'd scored exceptional goals against some of Europe's best defenses. He had done amazing things in Italy, and when he signed for Corinthians in January of 2013, he was still just 23 years old. For most players, that is a career in its infancy. For Alexandre Pato, it meant he had plenty of time to regain his form and prove he was every bit as talented as the experts had once predicted. He looked to prove all the doubters wrong. For a fleeting moment, it looked as though Brazil was where Pato truly belonged. The spark was back. But as spectacular goals came, so did head-scratching misses and poor performances. The fans quickly turned on Pato. The criticism piled on, and Pato's performances seemed to only get worse. In October 2013, Pato stepped up to take the decisive penalty in the quarterfinals of the Copa do Brasil. If Pato were to miss, his team would go crashing out of the tournament. His opponent, Grêmio's goalkeeper, and Pato's own former Milan teammate, Dida. Pato attempted a panenka. It went horribly wrong. Dida made an easy save. As a single moment, it essentially summed up Alexandre Pato's career at Corinthians. He had signed a 4-year contract upon joining the club though, so the next best option was a loan spell away. In 2014, Pato moved to Sao Paulo on loan. And once again, Pato scored on his debut for his new club. His play was great in small doses, but not enough to earn Pato a permanent move anywhere. Then in 2016, Pato made his return to Europe with a loan move to English Premier League giants Chelsea. As a member of the Blues, Pato had the perfect opportunity to re-establish himself as a powerhouse talent in one of Europe's most competitive leagues.
I thought before, dream is true. I am here just to make my dream. I just play. Put the t-shirt of Chelsea, it's the best.
He made his Chelsea debut on April 22nd, 2016, and in incredible and at that point typical fashion, Pato once again scored on his debut. A converted penalty put Chelsea up 4-0. What a start to life in England.
I'm slightly tired, but I'm happy.
But then, Pato only made one more appearance for the club. Chelsea, unimpressed, decided not to sign the Brazilian and sent him packing back to Corinthians. The European dream was not yet over though. A few months later, Pato completed his transfer to Villarreal. His final stint in Europe would be brief, but it had moments of brilliance, such as Pato scoring yet another debut goal. But it was clear the once red-hot rising talent was a shadow of his former self. After 6 months in Spain, Pato left Europe for the last time and headed for another new beginning in his footballing journey. In January 2017, Chinese club Tianjin Quanjian paid approximately €18 million for Alexandre Pato. For the first time in what seemed like forever, Pato failed to score on his debut for a new club. This wasn't a sign of things to come though, as while injuries had broken Pato down to the point he could only offer small tastes of the talent he once displayed in Serie A, he proved a most useful asset to Fabio Cannavara's side of the Chinese Super League. Pato hit double figures in goals during both of his seasons in China. But in 2019, it seemed that the time was right for Alexandre Pato to return home once again. He signed with Sao Paulo and was welcomed as a veteran player needing somewhere to play out the rest of his career. Here, the heart beat stronger, was the sentiment. For fans, this move felt like the beginning of the end. It was time to accept that while Pato's career hadn't panned out in the way many had hoped, there were still plenty of reasons to celebrate Pato's career. This was a baller that the streets were never going to forget. Breathtaking goals, dribbles that dazzled both defenders and the fans watching in the stands, and an aura that only comes around once in a generation. These were things that Pato delivered time and again. Injuries robbed him of the consistency he strived for. He never reached the heights of Ronaldo, but for a tiny window of time, Alexandre Pato was standing tall among the greatest Brazilian players to ever grace the game. After Pato's second stint in Sao Paulo came to an end, he made the move to the Sunshine State in the MLS. As a member of Orlando City, Pato had a chance for a storybook ending.
Orlando is cool, it's like a family, it's close to Brazil, club is very nice, club is one on the best.
His Orlando debut was a world away from the goal-scoring debuts fans come to expect from Pato. After 80 minutes of play, Pato was taken off injured. It was a heartbreaking reminder of just how unlucky Pato had been with injuries throughout his career. He played 5 games for Orlando in his first season, but a second season proved much better, with Pato putting on the purple jersey 27 times before making the final transfer of his career. In May of 2023, Pato returned to Sao Paulo once again. Injuries did not let up, But despite their presence limiting his playing time, Alexandre Pato made 10 appearances for the club in his final season, scoring 2 goals. His impact was nothing close to the jaw-dropping displays of years prior, but he was a member of the team that won the prestigious Copa do Brasil that year. A trophy-winning season provided a fitting end to a career often defined by negative setbacks. Pato's final moments as a professional footballer were spent as an undeniable winner.
Tem hoje 32, vou fazer 33, eu acho que passa muitas coisas na minha cabeça, sabe? Muitas coisas, a evolução de criança para adolescente para adulto. Tem muitas memórias bacanas e muitas memórias que me fizeram crescer.
As a young player, Alexandre Pato was an immense talent. A player with an eye for goals and a penchant for world-class dribbling. His talent was off the scale, and people were right to consider him the next big thing in football. Had Pato been spared the ills of injury, he almost certainly would have followed in the Ballon d'Or winning footsteps of his Capa Row trio members. Fans look back fondly on Pato's career, thanks to the many moments of brilliance. A highlight reel of his finest moments is enough to have someone new to the game believing that Alexandre Pato fulfilled his potential and became one of the best ever. Instead, Pato's career is a frustrating, deeply saddening what if. Perhaps the most tragic in modern football. If not for injuries and bad luck, it's likely Pato would have been known as one of the best strikers we've ever seen. It's also likely he would still be playing at a high level. After all, Pato is still younger than both Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. At one time, he was considered as exciting a talent as both men. That is something no football fan is soon to forget. How many trophies do you think Pato would have won if not for the injuries? Could he have won the Ballon d'Or? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more videos on the biggest talents in football, including those just like Pato, whose careers were set to be spectacular, but injuries and missed opportunities got in the way.